Alex, a curious human explorer, landing on an unknown alien planet. The planet is covered with glowing forests and strange floating islands. Alex hears rumors about a mysterious alien princess living in a hidden palace. While exploring, Alex accidentally wanders into a beautiful crystal garden where the alien princess, Lyra, appears suddenly. Her presence is commanding yet strangely inviting. Alex, nervous but intrigued, admits aloud that her legs look perfect, not knowing the cultural meaning of compliments on this planet. Lyra freezes for a moment, then smiles eerily and says, "Goodly there for catching humans." Suddenly, Alex realizes this princess might not be as harmless as she looks. She moves with incredible speed, almost blurring across the ground, and the garden seems to shift as if alive. Lyra begins to play a cat-and-mouse game, chasing Alex through the crystalline forest. Alex notices that every time he steps on certain plants, the ground reacts, trapping him or shifting paths. Through his quick thinking, Alex manages to escape narrowly, but Lyra watches him with a predatory gaze, leaving him with the feeling that this is only the beginning. Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Alex stepped carefully onto the glowing surface of the alien planet, his boots making soft crunching sounds against the crystal dust around him. The sky above shimmered with strange colors. He had never seen before shades of purple and green mixing together, like an endless painting in motion. He adjusted the straps of his backpack, feeling a shiver of excitement run through his spine. This was the adventure he had always dreamed of, a place where no human had walked before, yet something in the air felt electric, alive, as if the very planet was aware of his presence. He moved forward slowly each step, making the glowing ground pulse lightly beneath him, sending faint ripples across the crystal dust. He remembered the rumors of the alien princess who lived somewhere in the forest, hidden from outsiders, said to be beautiful, deadly. And always watching, he felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity driving him deeper into the shimmering landscape. Towering plants with translucent leaves leaned towards him as if trying to see who he was, the wind carrying soft whispers that sounded almost like voices calling his name. Alex shook his head, trying to focus his mind on the path ahead. He had trained for this. He had studied every account of explorers who had gone missing on unknown planets. He knew survival depended on observation and patience, yet he could not ignore the feeling that he was being watched, that eyes unseen followed his every move. The forest opened up to a wide clearing bathed in soft light reflecting off a massive crystal palace in the distance. Alex's heart skipped a beat. The palace seemed alive with patterns of light shifting across its surface, drawing him closer with a hypnotic pull. He could feel the energy of the place resonating through his body, making his skin tingle. He moved cautiously, keeping low behind strange glowing bushes, the air thick with the scent of alien flowers that seemed to hum with life. Then he saw her. The alien princess appeared, as if materializing from the very air. She stood in the middle of the clearing, her skin shining with a faint iridescent glow, her eyes deep, and knowing, her posture regal, yet relaxed. Alex froze for a moment, unable to speak. Her presence was overwhelming, like a force of nature, contained in a single being. He tried to control his racing heart, and then without thinking the words slipped from his lips. "Your legs are perfect," he said nervously, not understanding the custom here. Her eyes locked on him, and for a heartbeat the world stopped. She tilted her head slightly, a strange smile spreading across her face, and then her voice cut through the air like a soft blade. "Good they are for catching humans," she said, and the words sent a chill down Alex's spine. He realized instantly he had said something that might have doomed him, and the way she moved next confirmed his fear. Lyra stepped forward, her movements so fast they blurred the light around her, making the ground tremble slightly. Alex stumbled backward, trying to take in what had just happened. The clearing seemed to twist, the crystal trees bending in ways that should have been impossible, as if the planet itself was responding to her presence. Alex turned to run, but the path he had come through seemed different, shifted, rearranged by forces he could not understand. He ran deeper into the forest, his every sense heightened, trying to remember the landmarks he had passed. But the forest seemed to stretch endlessly around him, glowing plants shifting their positions, subtly making him feel trapped. He could hear Lyra behind him, her laughter soft, yet menacing, echoing through the trees. Alex's mind raced for ideas for escape. He remembered the stories about these alien creatures, that they were not invincible, but relied on their prey making mistakes. He darted left through a narrow gap between two massive glowing trunks. Hopping the path would lead him to safety. The ground beneath him pulsed lightly like a heartbeat. As he ran, he noticed strange markings etched into the crystal's small patterns that seemed to point him in certain directions. He wondered if the planet itself wanted to help him, or if it was a trap. He used the markings as a guide, keeping one eye on Lyra as she moved with incredible speed behind him. She was faster than anything human he had ever seen, and yet he caught glimpses of something else, curiosity in her eyes. As if he intrigued her in a way few others could, he stumbled across a stream of liquid light, slipping slightly, but managing to catch himself before falling. The stream reflected her image, briefly showing her watching him with a smile that made his stomach twist. He realized he needed a plan, not just running blindly. He looked around, spotting a pile of luminescent vines hanging from a tree. He grabbed one, swinging across a gap between two floating rocks, landing just as she reached the edge a few seconds too late. Alex's heart pounded. He was not safe, but he had created a small advantage. The chase continued across the glowing terrain, each step more dangerous than the last, plant snapping shut behind him, attempting to slow his movement. Strange crystal shards rising from the ground, as if the planet was testing him. He had to think fast, adapting to the constantly changing environment, relying on every instinct he had honed over years of exploration. At one point, he hid behind a massive crystal formation, holding his breath as Lyra glided past, her movements so fluid and silent that he could barely hear the wind disturbed by her passage. He realized he had been lucky, but he could not rely on luck forever. He needed knowledge, observation, and strategy. The forest seemed endless, each new clearing more confusing than the last, twisting paths and shifting light, disorienting him slowly. But he refused to give up. Alex remembered his training to stay calm, to breathe, even when fear threatened to take over. He slowed slightly, focusing on patterns in the plants, noticing how they bent and moved. Relation to Lyra, her presence was a guide as much as a threat. He could anticipate her movements by studying the energy around her. He used this insight to slip into a narrow canyon formed by giant crystal pillars, a place too tight for Lyra to reach, quickly giving him a moment to rest and catch his breath. The air here was cooler, the light dimmer, yet glowing veins in the rock provided faint illumination. He pressed his back against the wall, listening carefully, the soft hum of the planet under his feet, and the faint footsteps of Lyra moving above him on the crystal formations. Alex's mind raced with questions about the princess who hunted humans, about why she seemed interested in him more than in others, about the strange energy of the planet that seemed alive. He realized the story he had heard was only half true, that Lyra was not just a hunter. She was something more, something powerful and intelligent, something that could change the fate of anyone who entered her world. He checked his equipment, quietly making sure his scanner and communicator were ready, just in case. He knew he might not get another chance if she found him unprepared. From the shadows, he watched Lyra glide across the canyon above him, her eyes scanning every surface, her expression unreadable, yet alive with interest. Alex's pulse quickened. He knew he had to decide whether to continue running or to confront the mystery in front of him. His curiosity battled with his fear, the allure of discovering the truth about the princess stronger than the instinct to simply survive. He waited patiently as she moved past, slowly descending deeper into the canyon, temporarily leaving him alone. Yet the tension remained thick, like a rope about to snap. He knew this was only the beginning, that the real challenge was yet to come. The canyon walls reflected his thoughts, making him feel as if the planet itself was aware of his inner turmoil. He took a deep breath, calming his mind, plotting his next move, calculating risks and possibilities. The glowing cave ahead seemed to promise both danger and insight. He stepped forward, slowly testing the ground, each step deliberate and careful, aware that one mistake could alert Lyra instantly. Alex felt the thrill of the unknown coursing through him, mixing fear with excitement. He was in a world where rules were different, where survival depended on wit, courage, and understanding. Something he had only begun to grasp. The echo of Lyra's voice lingered in the air, a soft whisper reminding him of the danger and the excitement waiting around every corner. Alex pressed on deeper into the canyon, moving towards the light at the end, a place that seemed to promise answers yet threatened to expose him fully. His mind sharpened, focusing on every detail, every sound, every shift in the air. He was no longer just running, he was observing, learning, anticipating, and adapting. He had become part of the planet's rhythm, part of the chase itself. He glanced back, briefly seeing the faint shimmer, where Lyra had moved, her presence still palpable in the air like a living shadow. He smiled slightly, realizing that this hunt was unlike any other challenge he had faced. Every sense heightened, every thought focused. He felt alive in a way he never had before. He stepped carefully towards the glowing opening at the end of the canyon, feeling the pull of mystery and the promise of discovery waiting just beyond the light. As he moved forward, he knew that the next encounter with Lyra would define the rest of his adventure, and that the choices he made now could determine not just his survival, but the future of the connection forming between him and the alien princess. The canyon opened into a wide chamber, the walls lined with crystals glowing softly, illuminating strange alien symbols. Alex paused, taking in the sight, the air thick with energy, making his skin tingle. He felt both awe and fear, knowing that this chamber held secrets meant only for those brave enough or foolish enough to enter. The echoes of movement behind him made his heart leap. Lyra appeared silently, stepping into the chamber, her eyes locking on his with an intensity that made him hold his breath. She smiled, a slow, knowing smile, the kind that hinted at danger and curiosity. All at once she spoke softly, but her voice carried power and charm. "Humans are interesting," she said, with a tilt of her head. "You survived differently than I expected." Alex realized he was no longer simply a prey. He was part of a story being written in real time, a story of chase, curiosity, and perhaps something more. As the alien princess studied him, the glow of the crystals casting shifting patterns across her face, the atmosphere thick with suspense, he prepared himself for whatever would come next, knowing that his journey had only just begun. Alex stood frozen in the glowing chamber, his heart still racing from the close encounter with Lyra, the alien princess, her eyes glowing softly in the light reflecting from the crystals around them. He realized that he had survived the initial hunt, but the real challenge was only beginning. The energy in the room felt alive, as if the crystals themselves were watching him and waiting to see what he would do next. He took a careful step forward, testing the air, his senses alert to every movement, every shadow. Every shimmer could be a trap or a clue. He needed to understand more about Lyra, about her world, about why she hunted humans so relentlessly. He remembered the strange markings on the crystals, the patterns he had seen in the forest, and wondered if they were a map or a warning. He moved slowly, examining the walls, noting how some symbols pulsed faintly, with light almost like they were alive. His hand brushed against one of the larger crystals, and a soft vibration ran through his fingers, sending a thrill of energy up his arm. He realized that these crystals might hold the key to understanding the planet, and perhaps even to gaining an advantage over Lyra. He stepped back and focused on her, noticing how she watched him with curiosity, her posture relaxed, yet ready to strike at any moment. The air between them was thick with tension. Alex decided to speak, his voice steady despite the fear. "Humans are not just prey," he said. "They can learn, they can understand, they can choose to be friends." Lyra tilted her head, her eyes narrowing slightly, as if considering his words. She stepped closer, the glow of the crystals reflecting off her skin, making her appear almost ethereal, yet dangerous. Her voice was soft, yet carried a weight that made Alex listen. "Humans are interesting," she said slowly, "but survival is not always about friendship. Sometimes it is about proving who is stronger." Alex realized that she was testing him, trying to see if he could think and act differently than the others she had hunted. Before he nodded slowly, acknowledging her words, yet maintaining his own stance, he moved toward a cluster of crystals, carefully watching her reaction, noticing how her eyes followed every motion. He made the ground beneath him hummed faintly, as if responding to his presence. Alex felt a surge of determination. He would not simply be another victim. He would use his mind, his courage, and his understanding of humans to navigate this dangerous world. He remembered the stream of liquid light from earlier, and the way he had used the vines to swing across gaps. He began to observe the chamber for similar opportunities, looking for anything that could give him leverage or a way to communicate more effectively with Lyra. As he explored, he noticed a faint pathway leading deeper into the crystal formation. It was narrow and twisting, almost hidden from view, but it seemed to promise insight. He moved toward it, carefully keeping one eye on Lyra, who had not followed immediately. She remained at the entrance of the chamber, watching him with interest rather than aggression. The path led to a smaller room filled with floating crystals, spinning slowly in the air. Alex reached out tentatively, touching one of the crystals, and felt a sudden rush of information, images and sensations flooding his mind, showing glimpses of Lyra's world, the history of her people, their training, the way they were taught to hunt, and the reasons they valued strength and intelligence above all else. He staggered back, overwhelmed by the intensity of the knowledge, yet he understood more than ever that Lyra was not cruel. She was a product of her world, bound by rules and traditions that demanded she be a hunter. Yet the curiosity he had sparked in her mind was real. He realized he could use this understanding to communicate with her more effectively. He stepped back into the main chamber and spoke calmly. "Lyra, I understand now why you do this. It is not hatred, it is tradition, it is who you are. But humans can offer more than what you have seen. Before we can share knowledge, we can learn from each other, and perhaps even survive together." Lyra studied him silently, her expression unreadable, yet the soft curve of her lips hinted at intrigue. She stepped closer, slowly allowing him to see the grace and power in every movement. The crystals around them pulsed faintly in response to their interaction, creating an almost hypnotic rhythm. Alex felt his pulse match the beat of the glowing energy. He realized that this was not just a test of survival, but a dance of minds, of trust and understanding. He took another careful step forward, feeling more confident than before, yet aware that one mistake could undo everything. The chase was not over yet, and the thrill of the hunt lingered in the air like a tangible presence. He decided to take a risk and extend his hand in a gesture of trust. Lyra paused for a moment, her eyes locking on his, the silence stretching out, feeling like an eternity, before she slowly placed her hand in his, a spark of energy passing between them that sent a shiver down his spine. The connection was brief, yet powerful, a silent acknowledgement that they could coexist if they chose to learn from one another. Alex smiled inwardly, realizing that this fragile truce could become the foundation for something greater, but he knew they were not safe yet. The chamber suddenly shifted, the floating crystals spinning faster, and the walls seemed to close in slightly, a subtle warning that the planet itself was aware of their interaction. Lyra stepped back slightly, her eyes scanning the room, and then looking at him. "Humans are clever," she said softly, "and perhaps that is why I find you so intriguing." Alex nodded, understanding the compliment and the subtle warning in her tone. He decided to explore further, seeking knowledge and tools that could help him survive and perhaps influence the alien princess. He moved to a corner of the chamber where a set of glowing orbs floated suspended in the air. Each orb seemed to contain energy patterns that pulsed rhythmically. He reached out carefully and touched one, feeling a surge of power flow through him, a brief insight into the way the planet channeled energy. He realized these orbs could be used to create temporary shields or diversions, giving him an edge in the ongoing cat and mouse game with Lyra. He stepped back and observed her reaction, noting how her eyes followed his every move, and a flicker of approval crossed her features. She had expected him to react with fear or panic, but instead he analyzed, adapted, and learned, using the environment to his advantage. The moment gave him confidence. He knew that his survival depended on this blend of courage and intelligence, and that he could use it to negotiate and communicate with Lyra, rather than simply run or fight. The crystals around them pulsed more rapidly, like creating moving patterns on the walls. Alex felt a sense of exhilaration, the danger, and the discovery blending together into a thrilling reality. He decided to speak again, carefully choosing his words. "Lyra, there is more to humans than you have experienced. We can be allies if we choose to understand and respect each other." Her expression softened slightly, a hint of a smile forming. She stepped closer, the air around her charged with anticipation. "Humans are unpredictable," she said with a tilt of her head. "Yet perhaps that is why you are worth observing." Alex realized that he had moved from being prey to being a participant in something larger, a relationship forming built on mutual curiosity and intelligence. The energy in the chamber seemed to respond to this shift, creating a rhythm that resonated with both of them. He took a slow breath, centering himself, focusing on the balance between caution and trust. He decided to test the bond further and carefully demonstrated one of the abilities he had learned from the energy orbs, creating a small glowing shield that shimmered in the air. Lyra watched intently, her eyes following every pulse and wave of light. She stepped forward, reaching out to touch the shield, and felt the energy flow through her, a moment of connection that spoke louder than words. "Humans are resourceful," she said softly, "and perhaps that is what makes you interesting." Alex smiled inwardly, realizing that this was a breakthrough, a moment where fear and hunting transformed into understanding and cooperation. He felt the tension of the hunt dissipate, slightly replaced by a fragile trust. Yet the danger was still present, the planet still alive around them, ready to test them at any moment. He moved carefully alongside Lyra, exploring the chamber together, observing the floating crystals, the glowing orbs, and the intricate patterns etched into the walls. Each step was a test of patience and awareness. He knew that one wrong move could provoke the princess or the planet itself, but he felt empowered by the growing bond and the shared curiosity that connected them. He decided to explore the deeper pathway leading further into the crystal formations, hoping to uncover secrets that could provide insight into the princess, her people, and the planet itself. Lyra followed silently, her movements graceful yet alert, her presence a constant reminder of the power and intelligence he was dealing with. As they moved deeper, the chamber expanded into a vast hall filled with massive floating crystals spinning slowly in a synchronized rhythm. Alex felt a sense of awe, the energy here stronger, more concentrated. He realized that this place might be a repository of knowledge, a center of power that could influence both him and Lyra. He reached out, touching one of the larger crystals, feeling the flow of energy coursing through him. A sensation, both thrilling and overwhelming. He felt insights into the alien technology, their hunting methods, and the nature of their society, a rush of understanding that could change the course of his survival. He turned to Lyra, meeting her gaze, the recognition and curiosity in her eyes, mirroring his own. "Humans are capable of more than survival," she said softly. "Perhaps that is why you intrigue me." Alex nodded, knowing that this was a pivotal moment, a transformation from fear and chase to curiosity and potential partnership. The floating crystals pulsed brighter, as if acknowledging the connection between them, a rhythm forming that resonated through the hall, a tangible link between predator and prey, explorer and princess. He realized that the journey was only beginning, that the trust and understanding formed here could be the key to navigating the challenges ahead. Lyra moved closer, allowing a rare glimpse of vulnerability, a hint that beneath the hunting instincts lay curiosity, and perhaps even the capacity for friendship. The energy of the chamber seemed to respond to this unspoken bond, creating an atmosphere thick with possibility and tension. Alex took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next, knowing that the dynamic between him and the alien princess had shifted forever, that the chase had become something more, a story of understanding, trust, and the thrilling unknown waiting just beyond the glowing horizon.